friends, welcome to We the Weary World. I'm Jackie Lee Howard, and today's guest is my dear friend Amanda Trask. This is a continuation of our first conversation, so please go back and listen if you haven't already. Please keep going. We need you.
I want to go into what has happened in the past 15 years. So we graduate high school barely, but I think both of us barely graduated. And I just want to hear from you. Was that something that you carried into adulthood?
Yes, I almost did not graduate high school. I was going through a lot of personal stuff, suffering with like a lot of depression, anxiety. I ended up staying here and was like, I'll just go to the junior college here and then figure it out when I get a little older. And then I ended up getting pregnant. And so I had my son at 19 years old. I went to school all the way up till my due date. After I had him, I was released from the hospital. I had to go and do a final. And so yeah. And I didn't go back to school for like 3 years. I just ended up working. But it was hard because my partner, there was a lot of negativity towards that because he was sick and I was young. I felt like there was a lot of proof. I had a lot of things told to me from a lot of different people. It was hard being on a, very fixed income and then I had a new baby. So he was like 3 months old when I started working. It got to the point where it's like, I don't want my life to be like this. I don't want to be struggling so bad and not have much to show for it. And so then I decided when my son was 3 years old to go back to school. I went to school full time. I worked full time doing retail. And then I also had like 2 side jobs. My whole entire grad program, I was dealing with a rare disorder that has to do with your brain. And so that was very challenging. And I don't know how I pulled off grad school because it was hard. So then I ended up getting my master's. In between that time, I was dealing with my son's on the spectrum and he's nonverbal. So it was like trying to teach him communication skills because of, having behaviors and find the district. We had to get a lawyer involved.
Your purpose really shifted, it sounds like, to your son's well-being and the focus of your family as a whole. It's so easy to say that. The nuances of it and the struggle is immense. And we saw each other, a couple years ago, and we hadn't seen each other in a long time. And one of the things that really, it's stuck with me ever since, is that you've really defined your life as to what the future for your son looks like. And I just want to hear from you, like, what that experience was like.
As a parent, you have your child and you have this like timeline set in your brain of how it's going to be and what to expect, because that's what, what's projected in society. And then when you have a kid that is special needs, every kid's future is uncertain, right? Every person's future is uncertain because you don't know what happens in life. But you are faced with this reality of, I am going to have to take care of this person. I'm going to have to take care of myself. They're going to get older. I'm going to get older. What's that going to look like? For example, my son, who can be aggressive, he's gone through a lot of therapy. He's in a great school now. So we've worked really hard and we've been able to give him resources to help with like communication, stuff like that, but it's still limited. We can't have this kind of conversation. You have to think about like who can be there to understand him and just be patient and work through it with him and not escalate and get the right help. When they're adult, what's that going to look like? You don't want them in a situation where they're just going to be tied up to a bed, because that happens. Or they're, you don't have the means financially to put them in a good place that they have resources. You don't want them just stuck in a room. So the drive is definitely like, if I'm not here, where's he going to be at? Who's going to take care of him? You work really hard because you have this mind where it's like, you hope that they'll be successful and you want to give them the best quality of life, but what is that going to entail for them? Usually people have to plan for their retirement. There's that pressure of, how am I going to take care of them? Or how am I going to take care of myself? Because I need to do my own plan for the future, but also I have to plan for my son and make sure that he's going to be taken care of. You have to look into things where it's like special needs trust fund, and you have to do things at certain time frame because there's so much red tape that you have to go through and loopholes that you have to find, because basically what happens is if you don't do those things, then the government's going to take what you have, and they're just going to be thrown somewhere. They're forever going to be with me until I'm either dead or I physically cannot be there in that capacity to take care of him. But if I'm not able to, or his dad's not able to, then he needs to be somewhere that he is being taken care of and loved, because the special needs world and the treatment of people with disabilities is horrific, and it makes me very sad. And it's like my biggest fear is to have my kid be somewhere that he's being mistreated or taken advantage of by someone. He has no way to really defend himself, and the way that he would have to defend himself, it's going to be outlined as a behavior or aggression. It's a big fear. Is what's going to happen when I die, and you have to make sure that you have the right support. And even that's like a conservatorship, right? Like, he's going to be 16 next
Happy
month.
birthday, Aries.
Yeah, he's 16. Oh my God, he's so big. And, having to think about conservatorship, and that's that responsibility. And it's like, I have to do it for him before he's 17, or when he turns 17. And that's going to be a couple grand. And like, people don't understand the cost of it. If you don't do it by the time they're 18, you have like regional centers that come in, and then they're an adult now. Even if they don't have a way to say what they want, they can, as long as they can hold a pencil and write a line, they can speak for themselves, basically. And it's like, especially when you don't have a large support network, and a lot of people are afraid or don't understand. So your circle gets very small. You have to sacrifice a lot of stuff as a special needs parent, because you are prioritizing that child, and that I can't be selfish in that way, because I have this person that I am going to have to take care of. Like, I'm responsible for them, and you don't want pity. You don't want people to feel bad for you about what you're going through. It's just like, this is my experience. This is what my life is. And you adjust to it.
The amount of advocacy that it takes for your child to just live with like normal basic rights is devastating. You're right. It's horrific. We have the ability to learn from one another. That's why We the Weary World exists, is because the stories that we share in this life can be so beneficial for the next person. What you shared is so important. And to see you, my dear friends, standing up on your platform and just like letting your voice be heard, I just think that you are a miraculous human being. I feel so grateful to have you as a friend, and you show up for your people.
Thank you, Jackie Howard.
Okay, friends, I want to thank Amanda Trask for this candid conversation, and for all of you listening. Please be gentle with yourselves. Love ya.